I don't know what Mark Davis is going to do. They should have given Rich Bisaccia and Mike Mayock a chance to go forward.
It was a franchise that did not choose Bisaccia before, and now we're going to see if they end up doing the same thing.
I need to start this video off the right way. And the right way is to say, I am not anti-Rich Bisaccia. I know most Raider fans, including myself, hold a special place in their hearts for the 2021 year where he stepped in to a very tough situation, which was made much more difficult by the Henry Ruggs of it all, and was able to put together a cohesive game plan every week to get the Raiders into the playoffs. I love you, Rich. And I also want to say he is maybe the best special teams coach in the league. Immediately went to the Packers following the season he had with us, took the worst special teams program in the National Football League, turned him into one of the best, and he probably will be a head coach one day. We need to stop comparing Antonio Pierce and the job that he's done to the job that Rich Bisaccia did. Because if I have to hear one more time, Mark Davis, you made the mistake of not hiring Rich Bisaccia. You can't make the same mistake twice. If I have to hear that one more time, I'm going to rip my eyes out of my sockets, plug them in my ear holes so I can't see the person who said that or hear them either. The reason it makes me so angry is because these people on these network television shows that think they know any more about the Raiders than we do, as if they watch all the Raider games and read all the Raiders reports, they have their finger on the pulse of what Raider fans want and what Mark Davis should do, is absolutely insane. The fact that we won a few games with Antonio Pierce and people were saying, don't make the same mistake twice, as if it was a mistake to not hire Rich Bisaccia. Now, was it a mistake to hire Josh McDaniels? Bingo! Yahtzee! It absolutely was. But that doesn't mean the only solution to Josh McDaniels was Rich Bisaccia. That means we should have hired somebody that wasn't Josh McDaniels. And I believe Mark Davis made the right decision by not hiring Rich Bisaccia. And I believe Mark Davis will make the right decision by hiring Antonio Pierce, who was clearly far and away, leaps and bounds, much more prepared and qualified to be a head coach than Rich Bisaccia was at the time of the interim tag placed on him. Here's why I feel that way. Rich Bisaccia inherited a team that had a quarterback who knew the system, who was in the league for 8, 9, 10 years, and an offensive coordinator who was calling plays for 8, 9, 10 years, and called plays for the quarterback with a different regime, and had a top 10 offense, and already had things in place to be successful, and also inherited a winning football team. We were 3-2 when John Gruden was fired. Hello. Does anybody remember this? Now, we had some good wins with Rich Bisaccia. We kicked the Eagles' ass. We beat the Broncos pretty well. And we also had some pretty freaking bad losses. We lost to the Giants, which I really don't blame him for because that was the couple of days after the Henry Ruggs of it all. It was tough. They were thinking about different things that day. We got destroyed by the Bengals in the regular season. Everyone wants to talk about the playoff game we almost won. They kicked our ass in Las Vegas. We got mollywogged, I don't even know if that's a word, by the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. It was like 40-9. Does anybody remember this? And the final 4 games that we won, credit to him, we beat the Browns by 2, the Broncos by 3 or 4, the Colts by 3, and the Chargers by 3. So it wasn't exactly like we were kicking people's behinds in the road to the playoffs. You get credit for winning those games, don't get me wrong. But how often are you going to win 4 out of your last 4 games to get into the playoffs by a margin of 4 or less? The only other time we won that many games by that margin was 2016 when we went 12-4, and everyone and their grandma was telling me Jack Del Rio wasn't a good coach. We just won a lot of close games. So what's the difference now with Rich Bisaccia winning 4 games by the skin of his chinny chin chin? I don't know if I'm saying any of these metaphors or acronyms correctly. That's not an acronym. I'm rambling. And Jack Del Rio doing it in 2016. Antonio Pierce inherited a team that was broken. 3-5. Jimmy Garoppolo leading the league in interceptions when he didn't play one of the games that was being counted for the total number of games played. He had to make the decision to go with a rookie quarterback, fourth rounder who has no reps with any of these guys. He has an offensive coordinator who has never called a single offensive play a day in his life. And he has a bunch of superstars who are demanding the football. And he is giving us a chance to make the playoffs, starting 3-5, now 7-8. We scored 63 against the football team, which is very hard to do. Every single game we've played has been competitive. Even the first Chiefs game, which ended up being what was it, 28-17 or 38-27, something like that. We were up 14-0 in that game, and we just couldn't get things going. I blame Bo Hardery for that game. The Dolphins game was close. Every game we lost was close. And there's no doubt about it that if Antonio Pierce was coaching this team from the beginning, I think we'd just be in the playoffs. Guys, this is... I don't want this to be a anti-Rich video. I want it to prop up Antonio Pierce. But for everyone saying, Mark Davis, don't make the same mistake that you did by letting Rich Bisaccia go so hire Antonio Pierce, it's not giving Mark Davis the credit he deserves. He's going to hire Antonio Pierce, but not because of the regret he had for not hiring Rich Bisaccia. That was the right move. Rich is a great guy, and he's a good coach, but he is not ready to be a head coach. Or he wasn't ready in 2021. He might be ready now. Antonio Pierce is ready, and he will be hired, but not because Mark Davis regrets and is listening to First Take and hearing these people on Fox and ESPN say, don't do the thing you did last time. Make sure you get it right this time. Guys, Antonio Pierce inherited a dumpster fire. And if you think he doesn't deserve the job, if you think that he's just going to get hired because of the regret that Mark Davis feels, that's just not the way it is. You could have an opinion that's different from that. I struggle to see the merit in that. The last thing I'll say is, when Rich Bisaccia was hired as the coach, what was the identity shift? What was the imprint he made on the team? To me, it just seemed like he was trying to do everything he could to win the game he was coaching. And, we were disciplined, definitely. But there wasn't this switch in, oh, this is Rich Bisaccia's Raiders. It felt like John Gruden's Raiders, coached by Rich Bisaccia. You can see a distinct difference between how McDaniels was coaching the team and how the team is being coached now. We are playing Raider Antonio Pierce football. You can see the imprint. It's a difference between a good guy being a coach and a guy that's a coach. That's coaching a leader. That's coaching men. Leader of men. You can just tell. It's the eye test. I love Rich Bisaccia, but he is not Antonio Pierce. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. That's my take on this whole thing. If you like what you see here, consider subscribing. Drop likes, drop comments. Subscribe. It's free. No charge to you. Love you guys. And I'll see you next time.